Afternoon, let me call this meeting to order. It is July 28th, 2015. The regular scheduled board meeting for July is now 6:30. Determination of we have a quorum. Mr. Dicky Gonzalez.
Present.
Mr. Dr. Norberto Cantu.
Present.
Mr. Eduardo Ramirez.
Present.
Ms. Judy Solis.
Present.
And Mr. Benito Sainz.
Present.
And myself, Daniel Garcia, I'm present as well. We do have a quorum. Pledge of Allegiance, Mr. Ramirez.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Section 3, approval of minutes of regular board meeting, June 23rd, 2015. Do I have a motion on Section 3?
I was absent, so.
so move that we approve.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 1, consider and take possible action on approval of donations to Rio Grande City CISD.
Mr. Garcia, Board President, members of the board, Mr. Trigo, Superintendent, members of the community.
Mr. President, I believe we skipped the public forum.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Resto, if you give me a minute, they did skip the public forum. Miss? No one? All right, thank you. Okay, back to item 1, Mr. Resto.
Okay, on item 1, Mr. Garcia, it's the list of donations for the month. Would you like me to list them?
Yes, Mr.
Okay. We'll go with Rio High School for the amount of $1,000 by Luis J. Garza and Associates. Rio Grande City CISD Special Education Department, Spring Athletic Games, 6/1/2015, the Pediatric Center. Rio Grande City CISD Gruya High School, $100 on 6/2/2015, Yvette Beltran. Rio High School for the amount of $4,500 on 6/4/2015, Starr County Hospital District. Rio Grande City High School for the amount of $2,500 on 6/4/2015, again by Luis J. Garza and Associates. Rio Grande City High School for the amount of $200 on 6/9/2015, again by, well, this is Jose Luis and Maria M. Guerra. Rio Grande City High School for the amount of $333 on 6/15/2015 by Cristina Peña. Rio Grande City High School for the amount of $334 on 6/15/2015 by Adolfo Peña Jr. And Rio Grande City High School for the amount of $333 on 6/15/2015 from Adolfo Peña Sr.
Thank you, Mr. Resto. Is there any discussion?
I suppose the school district sends thank you notes to each generous donor?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. That was my only note.
Do we have a motion in item 1?
Move we approve item 1 as presented.
Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a second by Ms. Solis. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And for the record, Mr. Ruben Klein is now present as well. Item 2, consider and take possible action on request from Basketball Team Rio of Rio Grande City for use of school facilities for practice and games, Veteran School Gym, and Rio High School Gym.
You have an attachment there, sir, for a request from Mr. Dave Jones, Chacha Jones, for the use of Veterans Middle and the Rio High School gyms for the Team Rio basketball practice and games for June, July, and August. This is just an extension. He was been participating. We've been doing this, and it's gone through committee before. And this was to go through August also. And we're requesting that you approve this recommendation.
And I take it was also approved by the athletic director as well?
Yes, ma'am. I believe that, is Ray here today?
Okay.
Thank you, Ray.
When it comes to, liability concerns, do they have,
Is this they have their own thing, or?
They bring a copy of liability insurance, and this is what we request. And correct me if I'm wrong, Ray, we've had several that show the documentation, and then we put it for copies and stuff like that.
Perfect, thank you.
Any more discussion on item 2? Do we have a motion, item 2? We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Ms. Solis. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 3, consider and take possible action on child care service vendor agreements for licensed facilities for the 2015-2016 school year.
On this particular item, Mr. Garcia, we'd like to recommend that we table this so that we could further review the details and information. We were going through it today, and I feel that we need to look at it a little further and bring it on the next board meeting. I've contacted personally every single vendor here today, talked to them personally, and everybody's okay with it. And we just would ask your request to accept our request on tabling it for further review.
Do we have on item 3, do we have a motion?
I so move.
We have a,
Table.
To table, yeah.
we have a motion to table on item 3. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Ms. Solis. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 4, consider and take possible action on agreement between Pinnacle Medical Management Corporation and Rio Grande City CISD for alcohol and drug testing services for the 2015-2016 school year.
I believe on this item, item 4, you have a revised copy for each one. On this, we asked Mr. Juanito Garcia. We met yesterday and asked him to revise. There was a line sentence in there that we discussed that stated that this agreement shall automatically renew, and we had a problem with that. So Mr. Garcia contacted the vendor. Would you like to? And we corrected that, and that's why you have a revised copy.
Oh,
Go ahead.
okay.
Good evening, board members. As Mr. Recio stated, he did had a concern with that sentence that would add an additional year if we would not bring it back to the board. We were able to take it off with no problem.
Mr. Garcia, is this the one that you presented to our committee?
That is correct.
That
Back
you
in
had
June the
taken out the
3rd.
bids, and this was the cheapest provider, and this is something that's, okay.
That is
I remember
correct.
that now. Okay.
Any more discussion, item 4? We have a motion in item 4.
I so move.
We have a second.
I second that we so move with the addendum or the revised contract.
We have a second by Ms. Solis. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 5, consider and take possible action on tax refunds for the month of June 2015.
Item 5, page 107. Presented the request for approval for the tax refunds totaling a total of $1,252.07 being requested. Attached to the summary. I believe we had a question on one of them, and basically it was just we discussed on the committee, I believe, there was one there that had an account paid refund for I believe, a 2006 pickup. The issue there was that the taxpayer was paying for a vehicle that he didn't own anymore. So when he paid it, he didn't have it. So they were just asking for a refund, and it says 2006 because that was the year of the pickup. It's basically up to date, up to par. Are we correct on that one?
Move we approve item 5 as presented.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second, item 5?
I'll second.
We have a second by Mr. Sines. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 6, consider and take possible action on adoption of board resolution for the bank depository contracts with Lone Star National Bank of Rio Grande City, Texas.
The RFP 1523, the bank depository was awarded to Lone Star National Bank on May the 13th, 2015. A resolution for the depository contract needed to designate the officers and authorize signatures. We went to committee, it was approved, presented, and we recommend the administration the approval of the resolution of the depository contract with Lone Star from September 1st, 2015 to August 31st, 2017. We recommend the approval.
Any discussion on item 6?
No, I believe it went through the contracts committee that Dr. chairs and everything was legit, everything was good.
Do we have a motion on item 6?
So move to approve item 6.
Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a second by Ms. Solis. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Item 7, consider and take possible action on requisitions 5,000 and over in a 12-month aggregate.
This is just a list, Garcia, on the items. You help me out here?
Item 7.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board, Mr. Trigo, ladies and gentlemen. We do have items starting on page 112 of the agenda for your consideration. I don't know if you have any questions. There's proper funding, or the funding is available for each of these purchases. If you have any questions, please.
Any discussion on item 7?
No, I believe that this was presented to committee. Sure.
No, I don't think so. Do we have a motion, item 7? No. Do we have a motion, item 7? Do we have a second?
Second.
Second one we have a second by Mr. Ramirez. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Item 8, consider and take possible action on awarding of the following bids. RFP 1531, student athletic and voluntary accident insurance.
We have gone to committee on this, Mr. Garcia, and board members, this has been approved. We came in with a lower bid. After all, I believe that we got the AD, Mr. Ramirez involved, Doc McGuire, and we're all recommending this. It's for your approval. And this will take care of the students, will be on time, and we should be good.
And it's essentially, just for public knowledge, it's essentially the same coverage, and we just made a few phone calls and we're able to get it knocked down, what, a 60 something?
We knocked it down on the discount, the same vendor. It's just a tad different on the plan, but it covers basically the same thing according to Dr. McGuire. And I think he's here today. Are we good on that, Doc?
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board. It's not the same plan we have.
Okay.
It's their high option base plan. It's not a customized plan. We had a customized plan. We knocked it down to their high option plan, but it's their base high option plan.
All right. Thank you.
Any more discussion on item 8, 1531?
We shall recommend you approve the plan, sir.
Do we have a motion on item 8, 1531?
Move that we approve as presented?
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Ms. Solis. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Item 8, RFQ 1532, design build services for energy efficiency and conservation.
Mr. President and members of the board, I asked the board if we can table this particular item. The district still has some questions that we'd like to get answered, and we'd like to bring it back at our next meeting if you will allow us to.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I move that as far as item 8, the second item, number 15-32, that we table it as per Mr. Smedley's suggestion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Ramirez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Smedley. Item 9, consider and take possible action on request for permission to extend a 1-year extension to existing contract of Aaron Garza for the 2015-2016 school year.
Good evening, Board President, members of the board, Mr. Trigo, School Superintendent, colleagues, and all that are present. Special Ed Department is seeking the approval of the extension of a one-year contract to the existing contract from Mrs. Garza, which is our licensed specialist in school psychology.
I know that you presented it to the committee and you were suggesting that we go ahead and approve this.
Yes, ma'am,
Yes,
that is
and
correct.
we did review it in our committee.
Do we have any more discussion on item 9? Do we have a motion on item 9?
I move that we approve it as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 10, consider and take possible action and request for permission to extend a one-year extension to the existing contract of Ruth Cardosa for the 2015-2016 school year.
Special Ed Department is also seeking the approval of the one-year extension for the existing contract for Mrs. Ruth Cardosa, LSSP.
And again, this was presented in committee, and it's a suggestion of Ms. Bazan and her colleagues, so I know that we reviewed it and everything seemed good.
We have a motion on item 10.
I move that we approve this item as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Oh, we have a second by Mr. Klein. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 11, consider and take possible action on request for permission to extend a one-year extension to existing contract of P&G School Therapy Services for the 2015-2016 school year.
Special Ed is seeking the approval of a one-year extension for the existing contract for P&G School Therapy Services for this coming school year.
And again, it did go through committee and everything was good.
Do we have a motion on item 11?
I move that we approve this item as presented. And I think there was one more item presented, one more contract that will hopefully make the next
We have a
agenda?
couple more, yes.
A couple more that will make the next one, okay.
That's correct.
You made the motion.
Yes, I move that we approve the item as presented.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Mr. Ramirez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 12, consider and take possible action on memorandum of agreement between TMC Head Start, Early Head Start, and Rio Grande City CISD for the 2015-2016 school year.
Once again, Special Ed is seeking the approval of the memorandum of agreement of understanding for the 2015-16 school year. This is to comply with federal and state laws and with funding that we receive in Special Ed. This is a yearly memorandum of agreement that we have, and this is one of the agencies at this time.
Any discussion, item 12?
Now, again, that went through our committee, and I move that we approve the item as presented.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second on item 12?
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Sines. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mazan. Item 13, consider and take possible action on renewal of 2015 property value study appeals contract with Linebarger, Gogan, Blair, and Sampson, LOP.
This is our tax collectors, Mr. Garcia. The administration recommends that we renew the 2015 value study appeal contract with Linebarger, Gogan, and Blair and Simpson. They, go ahead, sir. I didn't see you. I'm sorry.
I just walked in, I apologize. That's correct. This is a not delinquent tax. Gus Martinez for the record. Good evening, Mr. Board President and honorable trustees. This is property values study, which we do every year. And if there's a discrepancy between what the school assesses and what the state does, we appeal in order to try and maximize the funding. An example of this was this year, where we gave the state what we believe to be the total value of the property in our jurisdiction. The state disagreed. They said, no, your values are higher. So by having higher values, you get less state funding. So we appealed, and we were able to reduce the state's number by over 54 million. And what that translated to is, for the next fiscal year, we get over 1.1 more million dollars from TDA funding.
Excellent.
And we'll do it next year if there's a discrepancy in every year. Usually in a decade, there's probably about 3. We go 3 or 4 years without an appeal, but every now and then one creeps up, and we're pretty good at it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gus.
Do we have any more discussion, item 13?
No, I know that it also went through Docs Committee, and he's already said everything's good on it, so I move that we approve it as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Sines. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Item 14, discussion and possible action on mandating direct deposit for employee pay.
The business office made a study, Mr. Garcia, and presented it to determine if requiring the district to deposit for a payroll check for all the employees is feasible. Currently, there are 1,557 participants and 420 that are not. The non-participants equal to 20%, the participants equal to 80%. We would be saving a substantial amount of money per year if we would go totally paperless. It's something that's new, that's innovative, that's keeping up with the high tech in the environment, and we strongly recommend that you approve this recommendation. It's good for everybody. It really is.
Any discussion, item 14? Do we have a motion on item 14?
I move that we,
Go ahead. I move to approve item 14 as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a second by Ms. Solis. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Section 4, anything on reports? Section 6, sorry.
It's not your thing.
No? We're in Section 7, closed session under the authority of the Texas Government Code, Section 551.071. We'll be going into executive session. It is now 6:51. It is now 8:23. We're reconvening in open session. Do we have a motion in item A?
I move that item A be approved as presented in executive session.
Do we have a second?
A second.
We have a second by Mr. Ramirez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Do we have a motion in item B?
I move that we approve item B as presented in executive session.
Do we have a second on the motion?
A second.
We have a second by Mr. Klein. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Do we have a motion on item C?
I move that we approve item C as presented in executive session.
Do we have a second?
A second.
We have a second by Mr. Ramirez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. In the addendum, item B, do we have a motion in item D?
We do, and first I would like to state that, just to assure everyone who's present here today, all of the employees of our school district, all of our family and friends, contrary to what you may have heard via social media or the rumor mill, I would like to take this opportunity to state that this board, and I think that I can freely speak on behalf of every member sitting here, all 7 of us, Mr. Klein, Mr. Sines, myself, Judy Solis, Mr. Daniel Garcia, Mr. Eddie Ramirez, Dr. Norberto Cantu, and Mr. Dicky Gonzalez, that we have the utmost faith and confidence in our superintendent, Mr. Joel Trigo. We placed him there. We believe he's doing a good job. We believe that he will continue to carry this district forward and that we will meet our full potential. And at this time, I move no action on item D.
Do we have a second on item D?
I'll second.
We have a second item D by Mr. Sines. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Move
Do
to
we have a,
adjourn.
do we have a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Do we have a second? We have a second by Mr. Sines. Meeting is now adjourned.
Board members, no more casual pick. It'll only be the formal pick next week. But Becky is going to catch each and every one of you for the little segment. Okay, thank you.